Combustion.
Whoa, 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 whoa. They running the game with my team making plays. Talking 80, my G's, wanting jewels in this place. Surrounded by dogs, keep the quarterback safe. I'm the one with the plans, they gon' do what I say. The game is not over, we don't celebrate. In the end zone, we don't got no time in the wait. Ain't trying run down, we don't premeditate. We just go and get to it, we got them on skates. If the game going to overtime, kicking the overdrive, we gon' be first at the finish line. Play looking full, but I finish mine, can I get second? We gon' line up like it's dinner time. We put in work till we get us a ring. Super Bowl season, we running the scene. Ain't trying to home of the realest that breathe. Keep your face down when you talk to the king.
Yo, what up, y'all? This your boy AD and got my co-host in the building. What up, Clayton and Jules? We are back with another episode of the H-Town Rundown. And it's the off season, it's the dead period. But I just want to touch on a few things and talk about, the Texan news that's been popping off the last few days. Ain't much of nothing to talk about, but first things first, how's everybody doing on this wonderful, wonderful Pentecost Sunday evening?
I'm tired.
Doing good, man. You tired, man. Listen, bro. Shout out to all the teachers. You know, we made it. We did it. It's another summer. Go ahead and get this last week out of the way, tear down the classrooms, and go to Chick-fil-A or something. I don't know whatever you do. Just
You said go Chick-fil-A.
Go to Chick-fil-A.
Hey, bro. Hey, get the deal.
You should be tired of Chick-fil-A as a teacher.
Never.
Ain't that the go-to for Chick-fil-A?
That's the go-to teacher.
The free chicken biscuit, get you ice cream, you good. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Never thought of free.
Free 95.
Trying to get us a brand deal, y'all. Come on, bro.
Y'all can have the lowest chicken, okay?
The Lord, he came down and touched and blessed it. Touch and agree. But yeah, shout out to all the 2026 fall graduates from high school, college, and all your extra degrees. Shout out to everybody that crossed that stage these last few weeks and still has, may cross the stage in the next week or so. So congratulations to all the 2026 graduates. It made me feel old because I had a whole bunch of classmates had their kids graduate, and I said, Lord, what was y'all doing? I'm looking at the time. I'm like, y'all didn't waste no time. Y'all, as soon as you graduated high school, you said, boop, baby.
I feel judged when you say that kind of comments because that's kind of how I was. I feel judged. It's fine.
You shouldn't feel judged, Jules. You 65 years old, so I mean, you're fine. Ain't no, you went and had a second geriatric. But shout out to everybody now. But I'm pushing 40, so I got a whole bunch of classmates having their babies cross on the stage. So shout out to everybody. But nevertheless, man, let's talk Texan news. Well, before we go there, has everybody listened to Iceman?
Nah.
Listen, pieces. A lot of people have said it's a bunch of mid, but not my word.
It's a lot of hating. Shout out to Drake. Shout out to the 3 albums he dropped on May 15th.
Why he dropped 3 albums?
I mean, it's a lot of things to it, man. A lot of different things. Shout out, what up, Danny Bear? It's a lot of different things that happen, but
so you have to buy all 3 albums, or all 3 came on one streamline or whatever.
It's 3 different albums, but
so he about to pay for each stream for each album.
I mean, yeah.
Y'all crazy as hell.
But unfortunately for me, I pay for Apple Music, so I ain't have to pay for nothing. I just hit download.
Clearly, he had too much hands. I have to get his butt when he bought Pixel Lamar.
There you go. See the haters, the haters, the haters, man.
Hey man, listen, that's what they said. They said he waited 2 years to answer to all these things. Again, not my words. This is what they've been saying.
Yeah, and it took,
Shebang.
we can have a spirited debate about Drake and Kendrick, but again, Drake is just putting on master classes on master classes. So
Oh Lord.
you know, you know, look, man,
I don't got dog in the fight. Don't matter to me none. It seems like
y'all people can hate.
it
Well,
seems like
people hating on.
it seems like a little extra more attention for somebody who need attention to drop 3 albums in one time. This look like
Well,
it's
I
about
mean,
something.
I don't want to get into the conspiracy at all, but essentially, he's met his contractual obligations. I don't know why I'm getting an echo on it, but he's met his contractual obligations by dropping those 3 albums. So
Okay, that makes sense.
Drake essentially is a free agent.
That's why. Maybe gonna send it sign to Kendrick Lamar's label.
I mean, they say he about to be the
I don't
first.
know.
About to be the
Independent.
first. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard independent. Like he trying to do his own thing. That's what people are kind of getting ready for.
I
Yeah,
mean,
he
but he's
about to.
big. He's big enough. He should be independent.
I mean, look,
Well,
he
that's
said
the
he
thing.
about to
Like
be
he's
the
never
first
been.
$1 billion artist.
I mean, Drake basically said it. His whole thing is he's the hit maker. He's like the Roman Reigns of hip hop, where like doesn't matter what you want, doesn't matter what you feel. He's right. He just is right. So you know, that's just it. Like this man was dropping ice blocks throughout Canada. Like that. I don't know. Like Bill said, I really don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just going off of what people are saying about the stuff. It's still pushing numbers up. I know that it's still relevant, which is most of the game. So
Well, it's Drake. Of course, he's gonna be relevant. It's Drake. Whether Drake
I
loses a fight
definitely.
every now and then, it's like Jay Z. Jay Z was never the greatest rapper or the best rapper in his era, but
Yeah,
he's still
you about to start fighting people fighting over Jay Z.
he's still Jay Z. He's still relevant. So don't give him any situation for it. But I
I
get it.
mean, all I gotta say is, if Kendrick Lamar had did what he did to anybody else, nobody would be talking about it right now. I
Like I said,
mean,
I ain't got a dog in the fight. I'm just
Hey,
good my little 2 cents about the situation.
now I'm
Cause
just saying,
I ain't
it's,
know
it
Kendrick,
matters who you put to.
I ain't know Kendrick Lamar was until to the argument.
that's crazy. That's that's
Woo.
crazy.
Hey, say it again, Juice. What you say? You didn't know who he
That's
was
crazy.
to win?
I didn't know who Kendrick Lamar was to the beef, and all I know
That's crazy.
the person he was beefing was the guy in the wheelchair, the grassy eye.
Oh,
Yeah,
You knew
yeah.
Drake.
You
You knew
you you
Drake
want you want
passed
you want you
him.
want you want me to pump up Drake get Lamar?
You knew who
So
Drake was. You knew Drake was past the
I had
Grassy.
to do I had to do a slide slap too. Don't go there.
Mhm. Anyways, man, let's go down to Texan news. You know, first order in business right now is the latest news is EJ Speed, man. EJ Speed
Mm-hmm.
was he tore his bicep, not bicep, was it bicep?
No,
Quiet.
Quad.
yeah,
Okay,
quad,
tore his
yeah.
quad.
Yeah,
Um,
quiet.
and he's likely to miss at least half the season.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So we can assuredly see him on PUP, which opens up another roster spot for the Texans. If I'm not mistaken, they have 2 or 3 spots available
Hmm.
to fill to get to 90 players on the roster. So that's something to be on the lookout. But I want to get y'all thoughts on the impact of losing EJ Speed, um, and what y'all expect the Texans to do to kind of fill that role. Um,
Well, I'll go first. They were to me. I always said linebackers were the thinnest spot and probably the weakest spot of the defense. I think with the add of Blankenship and adding of McDonald, that you kind of made the linebacker core um, that weakness, but you kind of covered up a little bit because you got two guys that one guy is proven that he can run the field and help out the linebacker core with his experience and his veteranship. You got a young guy who can probably be a dominant run stopper and help the linebackers out even more when it comes to running game and not have to feed the gaps and he can just kind of just do what they do as filling gaps and not really have to do running game too much because the holes we plugged up in. Um, what I think they'll do, I mean, with this type of defense and the kind of hype that we have on this team, I think easily that a linebacker who's on the streets right now who can fit the mold as a backup and not really break the bank because some people want to win Super Bowl and they think they can hatch into a ship, and this is the kind of team that you can kind of ride the coattails up and get your ring and be still productive. Somebody in the range. I think we looked at the free agents around 28 to 31. There's a pretty good number of guys, not overall grad. And we're not looking for starters. We're looking for a backup and maybe a special team guys who come in and spill toe and Aziz every now and then with some leadership where you ain't got to reteach them how to play the game. I think there's plenty of opportunities out there in the free agency. The guys they drafted this year and the guys they drafted the last couple of years, I haven't really seen much of the draft people did last year, and I don't really see much of the guys who they drafted the last 2 or 3 years actually being productive guys. So they're of course, but they'll get the opportunity to prove their worth because now EJ Speed was almost guaranteed the first linebacker off the rotation when come off the bench. So we'll wait to see, but I think they should hold. I'm not really worried about it. I want 80 speed here, but I'm not really worried about because he is a depth player.
Mm-hmm. Clayton.
Well, so good work, good work. No, man. So I like that you say you're not worried because I'm not worried either. Because again, you got the starters, right? Like your head coach is the defensive mastermind, and his whole thing is being a key linebacker himself, right? So I trust him to plug a guy in and develop or know how to put whatever options in position to be able to make a play, or at least hold down the fort until Aziz or Henry kind of takes a six back. Narratively though, my concern is what's up, man? Narratively, I wrote a piece about this. I'm concerned because, and I get it, we're not talking about a snowball effect here, hopefully not, but last year the Texans defense, outside of Mario Edwards and Tim Settle, and what Jalen Reed, Justin Reed, rookies, for the most part were healthy, right? Like they got a gift of a mainly healthy year from Will, from Aziz to Daniil to Stingley. Yeah, they were, nicked up here and there, but like for the most part, the core stayed together. David Peake had a good year, so all that stuff. I just don't like it that, you know, even if he is a special teamer, right, and first guy off the bench, I just don't like seeing in black and white ink that you have a key guy in the rotation going down on partially going back, right? Like, I just don't like that heading into a brand new season where injuries have plagued you since 2023, right? So that's my whole thing. I'm just hypersensitive to that. I'm not saying it's going to be a snowball effect and it's a guarantee of things to come, but I would just hate for last season to be like, okay, you had it with the fully healthy defense. Now comes that bill where guys are going to get hurt and falling left and right, and starting with, EJ Speed. So no, I'm not worried because he wasn't a starter, but I still don't like losing guys, right? Like, and we're going into this new season, so that's just my thing.
I mean, to take it a half class empty, are you kind of happy that, or not happy, but what makes you even less worried that it happened now, not in the back half of the season?
Sure. You know what I'm saying? Like it happened early. I
Yeah.
just, again, I just, like it's a, it. So you know what's gonna happen? People are going to go back to last year and say, see, this is why we should have made the Super Bowl. Like all this stuff narratively is what, you can count on happening. So, but to your point, no, sure. I'm glad it happened early. Maybe it comes back earlier than expected, but, and then also on top of that, since it's happening so early, you can get to work on Wade Woodaz and Aiden Fisher and really see what they got because you might need one of them sooner than you think. So, not saying anything about that. I'm just saying, Jules, to your point, it's great at least that it's early and not back after the season.
Along as they don't pull the Rockets and know they lost their one of their key guys and this did not do anything all off season, all during the regular season, all trade season to try to
Bro,
mitigate the
don't
risk
get
of
me
not,
started, bro.
what I'm saying. So
Don't get me started.
I'm just saying. I
Don't
mean,
get me.
it's
Well,
I don't want them to be the Rockets. I think Nick Casario and D'Amico Ryan is a little more smart than the Rockets franchise. You know what I'm saying? They lose their point guard in a month before the season started, and you lose your big man 2 months before the trade deadline. And you don't do anything between your thumbs. But I think our leadership is a little smarter than that. I think the Texas leadership is
listen,
smarter than that. So we good.
can I can I speak to that? I know AD about to go, but like, let me speak to that real quick because that's something that I was going to talk about on X. I know that Nick Casario is not like Rafael Stone. I'll say it. I'll name drop it. Okay, I know that Nick Casario is not Rafael Stone because Nick Casario, number one, as much as we get annoyed sometimes that he word salads his way through interviews, he will never talk himself into a corner. He will never tell you, what he's going to do. It's going to be a bunch of like, well, we'll see. He hits you with that, relative to, all the stuff, and then something was happening, right? But second thing is, Nick Casario is a guy who he is unafraid of making moves. This man will burn through late round draft picks. This man be handing out like scratch off. Like he don't care. He'll sign you, he'll cut you, whatever. He'll throw 2 million at you. He'll throw 1.5 at you. He'll spend a seventh rounder on you. Heck, he'll move off you if he drafts you, Kenny Green, Juice Scruggs, right? Like he'll draft you and then trade you off if you're not good enough. So I trust that Nick Casario and D'Amico Ryans because again, we've given D'Amico Ryans credit before as being like the guy when it comes to making certain decisions, right? It's not just Nick, but I believe that they are urgent enough and self-aware enough to where they understand what the weaknesses are and they make moves that fit their criteria, right? Like if the moves are being made, they'll make a move, but if it's not there, they build up the trust equity to say, okay, you know what? They know what they're doing, right? Like they got it. So the Rockies, that's a different. They haven't proven anything. They're trying to prove something and they're sitting there saying, what they don't think they need. So, nah, don't get me started on that. I think Nick Casario is much more urgent and much more self-aware than to let that happen.
So the level of concern is not that great for me as well as similar to what you guys said before. He's a special teamer. He's a third, a backup linebacker, playing sparingly throughout the season. I know that some people had hopes for him to take over Henry Toa spot because they just have this, unfathomable hatred towards Henry Toa. And I just don't understand it.
Same person
Oh
Um,
gave
my
him a whole nickname.
I just don't understand it. Where that hate comes from. But you know, prayers up to EJ Speed. And hopefully he has a quick and healthy, and non issue recovery. I will say this that I've seen D'Amico Ryans employ Jake Hansen and Neville Hewitt in the game, and the defense
Yep.
still performed well. Um,
Agreed.
so
McDonald.
yeah, so I really don't have any doubts in Nick Casario and D'Amico Ryans employing linebackers to you know um back up Aziz and Henry Tortora. I also would like to say to the Larry Staffords in the world who said, "Well, see, this is why you should have drafted Anthony Hill." The Texans did draft two linebackers, Woodaz and Aiden Fisher. So give those guys opportunity. It's nothing like a good white linebacker. Um, you know,
No comment. No comment. Either way.
you
No
know,
comment. Either no way. No comment. Either way.
let's see what the good old boys what they can do, what Fisher and Woodass can do, and provide some help and some depth, into the linebacker room. But other than
But ain't there two guys that's already been here for a couple years that you
who?
might that should get a better look at
Are
him
you talking about
than
Jamal Hill? Jamal Hill
yeah.
is one, and who was the other?
So I forgot what the cat's name. That's how I don't even understand who these guys are.
I hate to be negative about Jamal Hill, but like if they wanted to get a better look at you, they wouldn't have drafted two linebackers. That's kind of and maybe that's an ignorant take. I don't know, but like they did not draft just one; they drafted two. So
Well, we also, I
So
mean, just for understanding the roster, they did a lot of guys go like their special team ace Dare. So the linebacker crews. So most times when your linebackers, your special team guys are linebackers, running backs, and safeties and corners.
hmm
Mostly
right.
linebackers because of the speed they have and understanding lane situations. So you have a lot of times have a lot of running backs and linebackers.
Mm,
So just because they drafted two linebackers don't mean they're actually going to make
right.
them play linebacker. It's just
hmm
that their skill set easily translate into special team guys.
Mm,
So
that
I'm gonna
makes
read
sense.
off. I'm gonna read off the linebackers on roster currently. You got Aziz Al Shair, You have Aiden
Mm-hmm.
Fisher. You have Jake Hansen, who's still on the roster, guys. Another,
Yeah,
you got Jamal Hill. You got Jake Hummel. If I'm
that's the one. That's the one I'm
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
right.
no,
That's right.
no, Jake Hansen is the one that's been here.
Mm,
Jake Hummel is the one they just brought
He's a
in.
Raven.
Yeah, and then
yeah,
Marte Mapu from the Patriots
That's
that they
there you
brought
right.
in
go.
as
Yeah.
well.
That's right.
So
Um,
we might be all right. I mean, as
Oh,
far as
yeah,
you might just have to be okay with what we have until he gets back. Because once again, we all three said it is he is your special team guy. He is your first linebacker on the bench. You don't expect him to have too many plays. So now you just have to have a better rotation instead of
mhm,
yeah,
having AJ come and spade like he may do two plays. You might have one of the guys come do one play, then trade him out. Switch him out, then trade another guy. Instead of having one guy as your main guy, you might have three or four guys as your main guy to give these guys more
yeah,
reps off, and you can probably have less rotation with the three you have. When you might have to take two off, when you're taking only one off, now you only gonna you take two off, you're gonna have one off now because the experience. So that's just something that coaches have to work with what they
mhm.
got.
Yeah, and I'm to finish that off, you still have EJ is on the roster, but he'll be put on pup. Then you have Henry Tortora, Wade Woodass, to round it out as far as a linebacker. So I mean, it's not like your cupboard is bare. So you got guys who's been on the on the team for years, like Jake Hansen, like Jamal Hill. And you got brought guys in like Jake Hummel and Marte Mapu. Marte Mapu is kind of almost a carbon copy of EJ Speed build wise.
Yeah,
EJ Speed is 6'4", 227. Marte Mapu is 6'3", 230.
yeah,
So I expect Marte Mapu to get a lot of reps, and
correct,
he's a special teams guy as well.
right.
Expect him to go ahead and take some of those snaps or whatever. Shout out James.
Because he was coached up even for what 2 seasons or 1 season under Drabel, who's another good defensive head coach out there. So
Mhm,
he know how to play the game. He knows what's to expect because they'll come regardless, but they still traded for him. So
yeah.
what you kind
mm,
of got a guy. You ain't got to really coach up. Maybe just know how to what a placement on the field where you need to be and just how to rotate in through the system.
Hmm.
mm.
Definitely, definitely. So it's a lot to look forward to. Um, you know, and then go from there. And I think another I wasn't gonna touch on it, but Jules, we've been talking about it offline for like the last week or so. And I want to go ahead and talk about it because we'll get to the Kalen and Kamari in a second. Let's talk about how sports radio, specifically Sports Radio 610, and the Baytown Badass and his horrible takes of late.
This is church Sunday. I was in a peaceful mood. I went to Zen class. I had therapy. I had the water dance, yoga, and I was my core was centered. And you want me to bring me back to
Hey,
16 radio? Okay,
then the fact that they was able to center your core,
all
mm,
right.
we got hey.
But now you ruined it now. But let's go with it.
I don't understand the fascination with. I understand it's a polarizing topic, and people are always gonna wonder and question it until it happens. But at this point in time, why can't you let sleeping dogs lie? And that sleeping dog is CJ Stroud's contract, future contract with the Houston Texans. Why can't that not be a topic? Why can't we move on and talk about other things and just let it play out? You know, I don't understand, why it's so itch to talk about it and make commentary about it and saying that, the Texans don't trust or believe in CJ Stroud because they haven't given him a contract yet. Or the Texans aren't building around CJ Stroud because they haven't given him a contract yet. Or the Texans are looking elsewhere at quarterback because they haven't given CJ Stroud a contract yet. Um, I don't understand it. Jules, maybe you can help me understand it. Clayton, maybe you can help me understand it. But I don't understand the hate that Clint Sterner has, specifically Clint Sterner. Cause shout out to Sean Pendergast and Seth Payne. They have the best show on sports radio in Houston right now.
Right.
Mm.
Well, I'm gonna let Clayton go first, but before I chime in, it's not even that he has hate for CJ. It's
Yes,
the
it's hate. It's
but
hate.
it's the inconsistency, and I'll touch on it once Clayton have his opinion because maybe he has a better understanding than I do.
Go ahead, Clayton.
Remind me of that Chappelle skit. Hey. You talking about bucking asses, mama's bitch. But no, man. So what I don't understand, man, is CJ Stroud has led you to three straight AFC divisional rounds. Um, he already has the most individual wins for a quarterback in playoff history. He already had the most, accolades laden season for a quarterback in Texas history or for a rookie. Um, he has helped spark one of the greatest turnarounds in franchise history and NFL history. Forget all that. He's not even 25 yet. Um, I mean, and I went back because the NFL they done a good job. They just posted like a couple of like Texans highlight reels of like the offense, right? Like offensive highlights. Then the last one they did was Stroud, Nico, and I think Woody. I think unless I'm wrong. And I'm just watching, and I'm just like, CJ Stroud is still that guy. He never left. It was an astoundingly poor two games, but outside of that, he's played like one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL, at least top half, top 15 ish. Um, I don't understand what this fixation is with not just the concerns of the world, but like the national media, local people. Like Houston just can't have nice things, right? Like Houston just can't go through rough patches, but it'd be okay because you stand by your guy and you understand the value that he brings. Like people can't wait to get talented players out of Houston, including local media members. That we know that if he went to a Rams or San Francisco, the media would flip on a dime and call that the best thing since Tom Brady. Like we know that's what would happen. So I don't get the whole defeatism around CJ Stroud. I don't understand why. Like we talked about it, right? Like we have our things we said against CJ Stroud. We talk about leadership. We talk about mental. We talk about all this stuff. But to act like he's a bum when before you talk about CJ Stroud, he has been set up to fail on this team. Not like on purpose, but as close as you can get. Back to back rookie play callers to start his career, two different systems in a 3 year span. A defensive head coach. We like D'Amico Ryans, but he can't be Shane Steichen. He cannot give you anything offensively like that you really want. So defensive minded head coach, back to back rookie play callers, a horrendously poor O line before last season and a half. No run game to speak of whatsoever. Um, Receiving core cannot keep guys healthy, right? 2024 is one of the biggest what ifs because you lost Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, and Nico Collins for like multiple chunks of the season. Two of the three not coming back. You had a running back who was your last 1,000-yard rusher who all of a sudden lost a foot, last offseason that we still don't know what happened with him. So
Call him
for
pizza.
me, bro, I'm just saying, bro, dude, I'm gonna toss it over to you. But what bothers me about this thing, two things can be true. You can be honest and critical in your evaluation of CJ Stroud. He had the worst two-game stretch for a quarterback in playoff history. You can say that, but you cannot sit there if you know ball and ignore the fact that CJ Stroud has been set up disastrously to fail. I don't know who can you put back there in those same situations and they win the Super Bowl. Like, even against the Patriots, you lose your starting tight end after already losing tight end to Brandon Jordan to a torn ACL. Right? Case Silver's not the best. You lose multiple O linemen in the game. Like, what is he supposed to do? Right? So, yes, he needs to get better with mitigating disaster. Okay, great. Outside of that, this man still drops 250 in a touchdown or two against the Steelers. The man still has got to be this far. Like, Nick Casario is finally giving him the best offensive offseason that he's had since being in Houston. Like you can't argue that. Now we can say when a team that's built properly, like any NFL team should be built, defense and run game, which that wins you Super Bowls, right? Now we can judge CJ Stroud and say, okay, what you got, right? Outside, if you, my thing is, and outside of, if you cannot acknowledge how much CJ Stroud was set up to fail, then I don't want to hear CJ Stroud take. Because if you're going to blame him for what's his, which is fine, then you have to look at everything else and say, well, it's not like he was set up for success. Nobody could have won the Super Bowl with the same setup. I don't care what the narrative is. 37 other quarterbacks do not win with the same situations. They just don't.
Go ahead, Jules.
Well, unfortunately, I listen to Clint Sterner and Ron every day for
Don't forget Ron. The
yeah, Ron the
I'm
show.
me. Yeah.
Run the show because I'm too cheap to buy X and radio. I'm too lazy to put in podcasts, but I have an hour and a half drive from work, so I got to listen to these guys talk for about 2.5 hours, and they're the best show on the radio from out of the 59. I mean, seven was 7.5 ESPN and 790 of the three. They're the best show that you can actually listen to and have some kind of understanding. So I hear both sides, and Clint talks on both sides of the coin. A week where he'll go when the Texans don't set him up, and he actually like CJ on a whole different team, but not for this team. But then he goes back and then the week out say that CJ hasn't been set up for him, and it seems like the conversation doesn't merge well together. Whereas as Clayton says, you give them the best O line you have ever given them, and proven stars, proven guys, and yet they can say the guys have been injury prone here and there. But not only did you get guys that you have front starters, you also got the backups who have been proven starters too. And if anything over, you can mix match with guys actually playing position. You got you got four tackles that can play tackles. You got five guys that can play right guard, left guard, and center. And that's how you built the best O line this team has ever had. Not just by Watt, Taylor, and Smith, but the depth behind it, where you're not playing. He goes here, he go here, and and as much as I hate to lose Todd Howard. Todd Howard was a very linchpin issue with the team because you can put him anywhere but center and he'll play decent. So when they finally got rid of him, they have to understand that you have to have certain players to play certain situations, and you can't have everybody. You can't have tackles playing guards. I said to say this: the show is it's always CJ driven because it's the only thing that's happening on the 610 radio, the flagship of the Texans. That's the only talking point they have. There is no other conversation going on about the Texans. There are no more depth conversations. They lack imagination to even get into what you can talk about for
Mm.
3 hours for 5 days a week. And I give it to you how much it is hard to have a show on national a local show and have to talk about situations. But there is so much you can talk about in sports in Houston alone. You have the WNBA coming back. That was revealed last week. You have the Houston Rockets exploding with that and what they can do with that. You have the Astros falling off. You have high school football going on. You have and training camp, whatever they're trying to do. That you have little league football. I mean, high school baseball going on. You have college
Mhm.
baseball when you actually got 4 or 5 Texas teams actually in the playoffs right now. There's
In the
so
College
much you
World
can
Series, and yeah, you
right.
got yeah.
There's so much you can be a real show when you don't have enough to talk about. The Texans have enough, and I understand the Texans drive the boat, but when you irritate your fans by keep bringing up the same conversation over and over, and then you trying to disguise it by what they put lipstick on the pig and this is a different take, and then once you start talking about it, your take comes back again. We talked about yesterday. It's more like dead air, and I'll be honest with you, it's like dead air because people not listening to this anymore. They gonna comment because you got the same people, and it really is triggering. I'm gonna back this up. It's triggering the ones who don't want CJ. It's not the football fans who understand. There's levels to the situation, as Clayton said, as you said. There's level to why CJ failed or this team failed. There's layers, but it's not. You're not geared to the football gearheads who understand that. Hey, it takes a team. It takes preparation. Every know that the Patriots before they went to the Super Bowl, they had a quarterback issue, Mo Lewis, but team was already built and they went to a situation. Most dynasty starts 2 or 3 seasons into the dynasty starts, and this is our year 3 or year 4 into it, where we're on the cusp where that's football. People who have football knowledge understand that destinies are not created overnight. It's created through the heartaches and the pains of not succeeding the first two seasons before you finally break through. And once you break through, that's when your destiny can start, your dynasty can start. And So they don't talk about those people to who don't understand it. He talks to people who don't want CJ. He talks to people who want Davis Mills. He talk about the draft gurus who just love to draft and want to draft a quarterback who hasn't even played this season, who wants the Arch Mannings of the world, who wants the Reeds of the world, who wants the guy from the one who came back from Oregon, which was the dumbest thing that's going back because you went to even a stronger class on paper than what you already came through, and you went back because you want guys. Those are guys you are chiming in or texting back to the conversation, talking about, oh yeah, get rid of that. He ain't that. So it's a ploy. It shows lack of imagination to the situation. And if they listen to the show, they can call me because I text all the time how dumb they are sometimes. The text don't make sense, so they know my number hard 9271. That's me all day long when they had dumbass takes that I do all the time just because I be bored while I'm driving a half hour and a half on these goddamn Texas Airways.
So
Well,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Dad. I'm gonna keep it quick. I'm gonna just piggyback off that point. You say imagination. I call it lazy.
Yeah.
Is lazy. It's a lazy narrative because what's more attractive? C.J. Stroud 7 turnovers, or is it a tight end? Your tight end replacement for Dalton Schultz trips on the play and allows friggin' Tavion Clayson, whatever his name is for the Patriots, to jam to the line and hit C.J. in the face. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about Xavier Hudson, dropping the pass that he would himself tell you he should have caught that led to a tipped interception against the Patriots. We're gonna talk about that boneheaded flea flicker that Nick Haley called in playoffs, right? Where CJ turned the ball over against the Steelers. Like that's not attractive to talk about, but that's football, right? Like if this was all 22, we talk about all those nuts and bolts and schematics of what goes into these play-by-play things. But that's not the attractive thing to do. The
Hmm.
attractive thing, and I'm saying this also because in the world of writing, like we're told over and over about the power of the headline, right? How to get clicks and all this stuff. I'm not the biggest fan of that. I'm much more on the I just want to give information and articulate a point and help to build up understanding of the game of football. And if along the way your emotions get caught up into it, great, fine. But I much rather teach. I much rather talk about the X's and O's. I much rather talk about what actually makes a play great as opposed to just trying to get headlines. But unfortunately, whether on TV shows or whether on article writing, it's about getting eyeballs on product. And if you just
Yeah.
got a bunch of dudes talking sensibly, you don't have a show. Unfortunately, that's just the name of the game. If you have everybody agreeing and saying, "Oh, that makes sense," and that's pretty reasonable, I see that. Yeah, I guess he's not that bad. You don't have a show. So
Look, Frank put it here. He said, "I wish they get it more to the X's and O's." I mean, you can only have a conversation about X's and O's if your partner knows X's and O's.
Yeah.
Clint knows X's and O's, but Ron knows nothing. Like, so it would be Clint talking to a brick wall to himself. So that's the reason why you don't get that conversation. And that's why you get more of those Seth Payne YouTube video clips where he's talking ball and breaking film down and things like that. That's where you get the quality of that information. Um, but as far as the hate of it all, like let's be real, it is hate with Clint Sterner. When we drafted CJ Stroud, Clint Sterner got on the radio and said Davis Mills should start over CJ Stroud.
Correct.
So I mean, it's been hate since day one. I don't know what CJ Stroud has against Clint Sterner. Um, but you know, definitely, gotta get Clint up off the radio, man. Definitely gotta get Clint up off the radio. Um, but you know, I just feel like Clint Sterner has to be better. Um, him being
we're about to go.
him being a former professional quarterback.
Go
Um,
ahead. Go ahead. Mute. There you go, buddy.
yeah, so him being a former, he not a Houston quarterback, but a former NFL quarterback, you would think that he would be more lenient, more objective to the game and kind of breaking it down honestly instead of, kind of hate watching. So I don't know what it is he has, but CJ Stroud has to be more of a topic other than just, oh, he sucks and we can't pay him, or there's a reason why the Texans aren't paying him. And again, it could be both sides of the table that They're not paying him because CJ Stroud and his camp is holding out as well.
Right. I mean,
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I'm just saying like it's a lot of different factors into it, and you just gotta like be patient with it. And why is there such a rush? What is there
Sucker,
such a rush to get
sucker
them
point.
paid right now? And I'm telling you this now, even when CJ, because I'm gonna say even when, because this title episode is we removing a doubt.
Mhm.
Even when CJ Stroud wins a Super Bowl with the Houston Texans, if it's this upcoming season or the next, that contract is not going to change financially. You know, that contract is not going to change drastically.
Mhm.
Meaning, if CJ Stroud was going to get 60 million or 61 million this year, if he goes and wins the Super Bowl, he may get 64.
Right. And it's gonna be guaranteed. Sometimes it's gonna be
Yeah.
that guaranteed some way. And like, now I'm gonna give you one. Some second. We know Nick Casario doesn't do contracts like normal people. So
Yeah.
you don't know what deal that he might have set up if CJ succeeds or they agree on it. So they're baiting. I say if CJ didn't go to OTAs, it'd be a question, or Monday mini camps, what do you call it? If CJ
Mhm.
didn't call all the free agents that they were signed that offseason by Nick Casario and Nick Carons, it'll be issue. If
Mhm.
I mean if CJ didn't call uh all the rookies that draft pies and on game that day one or day two and clutch them and show them how to tell them. If he wasn't going with your team, uh, catching routes, all the stuff, it'll be more of a talking. But they're and here's that thing. They're trying to read the tea leaves about
Mhm.
what's happening instead of just looking for what it is and trying to be Nostradamus. Oh, we saw it coming because this is what you saw. Man, there's nothing to talk about because both sides are taking care of business as is.
Mhm.
Maybe there is something that we can't see, but you're trying to project fear
Mhm.
into your audience and to ones that really who don't like CJ or the Texans or have hates to chime in because that's your target point. You're not talking about what's actually going on, and like I say, you're trying to predict something happening.
Yeah. And that's the thing about it is that like it's more like you laid it out. There's more important things to talk about right now in Houston sports. You shouldn't spend an hour plus in a 4 hour show talking about CJ Stroud and his contract or non-contract. That like you said, that's a waste of time. There's dead air. And you got the Rockets and they're what they're gonna do because you got the draft coming up. Do they make a trade? Do they do things? Do you know that the NBA offseason is coming up
Mm-hmm.
soon? So what are you gonna do with that? You know what I'm saying? Like in June and July, that's the heat of the NBA offseason. Do the Rockets do something drastic and make moves and like forecast that? Then you got the Astros. As bad as the Astros have been, they just swept the Cubs, who's
Yeah.
one of the hottest teams in baseball. Talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about the Astros myriad of injuries and still have a chance once they get healthy to make the playoffs. Talk about that. Talk about like you said, WNBA in the comments and the comments potentially getting the number one pick and getting Juju Watkins.
Right.
Talk about stuff like that and what that would mean to the city. Have those conversations. Like, and like Juan said, some people can't talk sports. They can't. They can't. They too busy pumping them Coors Lights and and they too busy out there in Mount Bellevue and Baytown and having a good old time and enjoying their wife and their kids and they can't see the trees from the forest.
Arkansas
Um,
mid
so I
camps.
mean, it's just the point of like I hate that even though I don't think that that's his personality and I don't want to put that on him, but a lot of the stuff that he has to say when it comes to CJ Stroud has a very strong racial undertone. And I don't care for it, especially from Clint. Um so we'll move on past it, but find some other things to talk about, Clint. Find 16, hold your people accountable. Let's keep the positivity. Let's keep the momentum moving with the Houston Texans. Right now, you should hope that CJ Stroud goes out there and balls out. If
Hmm.
he and my thing is, you should be if you're gonna talk about the contract, talk about how this is motivating. This should motivate CJ Stroud to have the best year he's ever had in the NFL. You know,
Hmm.
and then one said because watch come training camp and everything, I bet you some folks in media will talk drama and clickbait. Of course,
Yeah, yeah, that's what it is.
we got you got Mr. Barfield that's gonna sit up there and he's gonna make a whole bunch of stuff. And he been quiet. He ain't said nothing for the whole last ever since the season ended. He ain't said he's been mute. But when training camp comes around, he gonna be hot and heavy and say, check me out at 7 o'clock or check me out at 4 o'clock. I'm gonna tell you what they saying in the locker room. And then when he get there, he ain't gonna say nothing. So, again, drama and click hate, clickbait, all of it. Y'all gotta move on, man. Let's talk positivity with the Texans. And let's
But I,
move
I
on. Hmm.
I do give credit for there was a guy that took place for John Lopez or the other guy, and they were talking about, and actually they actually had a whole couple segments where they say there's bigger fish, there's bigger things as offense I'm worried about in CJ. And they
Yeah.
named at least two different positions that say they're worried about that more than worried about CJ. I do appreciate those guys who are guest stars or guest hosts on the situation,
Shout
really
out B Scott.
tackling the notion that nobody's really worried about CJ.
Hmm.
Yes, we're concerned about the playoffs. We don't think it's. I mean, and you know my point about this. I'll wrap it up and go forward. Justin Herbert has two playoff series worse than CJ,
Hmm.
but you don't hear their radio people saying, "Oh, you can't pay Justin or he can't recover from this." Why can't CJ recover from the playoffs? Why are we only harping
Justin
on?
Herbert ain't won a playoff game, and they still consider him a top 10, top 8 quarterback.
Some people got top five, but
Ain't done, ain't done nothing. So,
but we can't get, but CJ can't get over the playoff series. We had eight interceptions and still won a game. Even that's as bad as it was, he still won a game. He still allowed the Texans to have a 13, 17 point game in New England.
hmm
So, but just Herbert couldn't do all that. But
look, yeah, look, Justin Herbert just played that New England team and looked 10 times worse than what CJ Stroud looked against that same team a game before.
right.
So, I mean, just like I said, Justin Herbert is the prime example of he gets a pass.
Hmm.
He gets the excuses. Oh, he was hurt. Oh, he ain't had no weapons. Oh, he ain't had no defense. Oh, this. Oh, that. Oh, he played under a defensive head coach. Oh, they give him all the excuses in the world, and he has never delivered. He didn't deliver in college, and he ain't delivering in the NFL. And yet he still gets the passes. But we gotta move on, and we gotta appreciate what you have because I think people don't realize what you have until it's gone. I think people as much craziness as Deshaun Watson brought in that situation, people didn't appreciate Deshaun Watson until you had to watch 2 years of Davis Mills. And people won't appreciate CJ Stroud until he's gone. And you have to watch a journeyman quarterback or somebody else come in and play, and you have to hope for getting a high draft pick to replace CJ Stroud. So
Yeah, because
no,
every rookie quarterback can't play at a level.
mm-mm, at all. But speaking about keeping the positivity and keep it going with the Houston Texans, I'm gonna say this point, man, and we can end it on this one, Jules.
Okay.
Because I was gonna talk about Nick Casario being top 10 GM, but that's gonna bring in the hate because the people they gonna find a reason to hate Nick Casario. But
Yeah, let's do it on a day where people can really. I know this is the Labor Day weekend. We
yeah,
we want we want the 4 or 5 people that continue to hate Casero. And I'm not the biggest Nick Casero fan, but I can give a man credit if I want
mhm,
to. But there's 5 or 6 people that we really want to come in and chime in on that conversation.
yeah, definitely. But I will talk about the Kalen and Kamari debate. Who would you keep? Who would you not keep? I'ma just flat out and say they keeping both of them. You're not. Just talked about CJ Stroud and the contract and everything like that. Um, who else are you paying on offense? Any kind of significant money? Because even if you want to say Nico Collins is making what, barely top 15 wide receiver money now
which is true.
at that. So that contract looks great. You're not paying any offensive linemen more than $13 million. So you're not heavy loaded paying offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
David Montgomery is what, making $8 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, tight end Dalton Schultz, what, making 11, 12.
Didn't he get a pay raise?
Yeah, he got a little raise.
Yeah, I got a raise. That's about
A
it.
little raise, but like a million so dollars or something. But again, I'm like, who are you paying on offense
Right.
to make you say, oh, we can't pay Kalen and Kamari when all you're paying is defense?
Right.
Stingley got his contract, Petrie got his contract, Blankenship got his contract, Aziz got his contract, Daniil, Will, they all got their contracts. And why can't you pay Kamari and Kalen and just round out your defense if the only person at the end of the day, because you drafted so young on offense, you drafted two brand new offensive linemen, you drafted two brand new wide receivers last year, and you just drafted another tight end.
Mm-hmm.
Like your whole offense, and in the last 3 years, you drafted three offensive linemen. So you, again, like one said, only the Eagles can pay everybody. I know, right? You know,
Right.
he said, I hate Nick on his dead cap and contract stuff. We'll talk about that.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's already 60 million on this year's cap for players that aren't contributing. That 60 million is gone next year. I mean, that's that part. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you got to think about it as if, okay, again, CJ Stroud has a 5th year option. That contract, whenever he signs it, that it signs the extension won't start until 2 years from now.
Yeah, 2028.
Yeah, so I mean, at that point in time, you have to make a decision on Daniil Hunter. Is he still a Texan or is he not? And if he's not, that's 45, $46 million that can go towards the 60 million CJ Stroud contract.
Right, because like I said, the only person you're really paying at a high level for his position is Ed Ingram, and you're only paying what 14,
13.
15? Yeah, so
13.
that's
You
it.
only
So
yeah, you're not paying, and $13 million for a guard is middle of the pack at best.
yeah, for right guard, it's pretty good money for right guard, but not left guard.
But
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 yeah,
but at the end of the day, a guard period, if you go and pull up the guard contracts, that's middle of the pack guard money.
right, because your center didn't the but the
Yeah.
Lindenbaum killed that shit
Yeah.
last.
Yeah, Leonard Baum reset the market all the way, but then you're not going to get a center close to getting paid Leonard Baum money. Ever.
No, no.
No time soon in the next 5 to
Mm.
10 years. So, I just gotta say, man, at the end of the day, you don't have to make a decision either or.
Mm-hmm.
You pay both of them. You pay
Right.
Kalen his contract. You pay Kalen because what if Reed got 8? I think Reed got eight a year.
Yeah.
Okay, give Kalen 8 a year. That's not gonna do anything.
Right.
Give Kamari that, and we talked about it offline, Jules. I see Kamari getting 25 or less.
Mm-hmm. You did say that.
So if that's the case, fine. If your team is fully paid on defense and you have the number one defense and you don't have to pay anybody on offense other than the quarterback, I'm fine.
Right.
I'm not even like, I'm not tripping. Cause at the end of the day, what you can do is that when you pay Kalen, okay, you're paying Kalen $8 million a year, but guess what? Reed Blankenship is only here for 3.
Mm-hmm.
2 at the max. Honestly, he's not going to be here the full 3 years.
Right.
I think Reed will be here this upcoming season and possibly the next, and then he's gone after that. And guess where that money's transferred to? To Kalen. And that's when Kalen's contract starts. Because Kalen is going into what, year 3?
Year 3.
So Kalen year 3, then year 4, and then his new contract starts the following year after that. So 2 years.
You still got the franchise tag float around there for anybody you want to franchise tag.
Yeah, you got the franchise tag. And if you don't have the money and you don't have the situation settled between those guys or anybody else, you have a franchise tag. That's why I'm like, it doesn't make sense about the conversation about CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is technically under contract with the Texans for 4 years. They have control of CJ Stroud for the next 4 years.
Correct.
So Same thing goes with Kamari. Kamari, they have control with Kamari for the next 4 years. Kalen for the next 4 years if they wanted to. So
Mhm.
like you don't have to make a decision on these guys, and you're not hard capped. And you got to think about it. The Texans would be in great cap shape, and one brought it up earlier, if they didn't have 40-50 million dollars in dead cap every year. If they didn't have 40-50 million dollars in dead cap every year, you wouldn't be sitting up here saying the Texans are hard capped and they got to move this player and that player and do this, and that. Better decisions, make better decisions, and we can have that conversation about Nick Casario making better decisions on the next episode. But definitely, and I think one brought it up too. You know that Kalen and Kamari have such a strong bond; they like brothers. Who's to say they wouldn't sacrifice for each other? You know that Kamari wouldn't take a couple $1 million less so they can keep playing with Kamari with Kalen. You know, but it's neither here nor there.
Mhm.
Appreciate everybody joining in on this good, wonderful Memorial Day Sunday. I know mostly everybody's off tomorrow, so I need y'all to go ahead and pull the pit out. I need y'all to get y'all Uncle Ruckus. I don't want to say Uncle Ruckus, but
Yeah.
y'all Unc slides out. Go ahead and get them charcoals going and get that wood burning and get that pit going and go ahead and fire that barbecue up for tomorrow. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day and enjoy it. And shout out to all
And
those
we got
that we lost in the service. And
yes.
you know that this day is for. So shout out and prayers up to all those families that lost members in the military, that are still mourning those memories from those family members. But again, we appreciate you all. We appreciate, again, I'll say it one more time. Shout out to all the graduates in 2026, everybody that had children, family members, aunts, uncles, parents, anybody that graduated with a college degree, trade school,
Yes.
high school, anything like that. Shout out to y'all for achieving to the highest degree of excellence. So again, prayers up to those that lost in memorial for Memorial Day to those service members, and shout out and congratulations to those that graduated. So we will end on that note. And shout out to Jules and shout out to Clayton who had to dip off for a little, at the end of the show. But appreciate everybody joining in, and we will see y'all when we see y'all, man.
And we out.
Peace. And we out, baby.